Ryu's forward dash is extremely fast compared to most characters. He can sneak it in very easily to keep pressure going. Low forward and low strong are both pretty good pokes. Forward goes a bit farther and strong is a bit faster. Far forward and far strong are pretty good too, but they're much less combo friendly. They both combo into Tatsu or light donkey kick, but those combos are unsafe and can be picky even on hit, so most people just go for normal or EX Hadoken. EX Hadoken is pretty good in general. Regular Hadokens aren't good in SF3 for the most part, but EX is neutral on block point blank, plus on block if it travels at all, and being a fireball it has no hurtbox once it's out. It costs bar, but it can be used the same way as non-EX fireballs in other SF games, controlling space and adding up damage. It's actually safe even if it's parried, though it can be punishable if the second hit is red parried. Crouch roundhouse goes farther than any of his other pokes, and comes out quite quickly. Near the tip it's generally safe, though some characters can always punish it, and some struggle to punish it even at mid-range. He has a Kara throw with towards strong. EX Shoryuken has true invincibility until after it connects, making it a true reversal. Non-EX Shoryukens have some invincibility too, but not total. They're all way more unsafe than waking up with block or even parry, so don't pull them out all that often. A common anti-air with Ryu is option select parry into stand or crouch fierce. Crouch fierce will beat most jump ins outright, as will Shoryukens, but these are very risky if parried. If crouch fierce is parried deep, Ryu can cancel it to punish a single air parry. Other good anti-airs are target combo, far roundhouse, or OS parry into jab. Jump strong doesn't set up a juggle state in this game. However, it is 2 hits, so it's still a good air-to-air normal for people only looking to parry once. Tatsu is almost always unsafe in this game, so don't mess around with it too much in neutral. To my knowledge, there's no forced stand in this game, so if the opponent is crouching, Tatsu can't work even when confirmed, such as after a parry. But in this game, certain characters are pretty tall, even when crouching. Ground EX Tatsu is immune to throws and lows, and it's only very slightly unsafe. It also has a weird parry timing based on range, so it's not bad to chip the opponent out. In the corner you can do some juggles with it, so it's especially good there. Air Tatsu isn't great for Ryu, but you can go for that SF4 mix-up where a jump in hits on the front but Tatsu crosses up. Air EX Tatsu is pretty useless, except to float over some anti-air super stuff, I guess. Your fastest normal to whiff to build meter is low strong, I think. Ryu has 3 viable supers, and the combos he looks for are actually radically different depending on which super you picked, if you can believe that. So I'll talk about some universal combos, then talk about his different super routes. For meterless combos, a fierce into hard DP or hard Tatsu is the strongest ender, and they both do the same damage. But both have some significant weaknesses. DP has pretty poor range, especially after a parried normal where you often won't be point blank. And Tatsu won't hit most crouching opponents. Generally, hard Tatsu is your ideal punish for its corner carry. But be aware that combos into hard DP or medium donkey kick are occasionally preferred based on the scenario. Even Donkey Kick can occasionally fall out depending on range and hitboxes, so you really have to experiment with the cast. But to my knowledge, Crouch Fierce into medium Donkey Kick works on everyone. Ryu's EX combos do more than many characters' super combos. Only Fierce's and Close Forward combo to EX Donkey Kick, and it's unsafe on block, so these combos are ideal as punishes or after a parry. Note how my screen position affects my route. Of course, both Stand and Crouch Fierce only work from very close, so for far punishes you often need low strong or low forward into Tatsu instead. That being said, for many attacks, Crouch Fierce is fast enough to hit the extended hurtbox after a parry. To be frank, Ryu doesn't have many confirms outside his supers, but EX Hadouken is safe and does okay damage, so if you're fishing for hits you might want to use that. Low short stand jab can combo to DP, but it doesn't work on all characters and it's a really quick confirm, which makes it difficult. If Ryu gets a meaty or distant universal overhead, he can link out of it. The links are easier on crouching opponents. On some crouching opponents, low short jab short will space Ryu for a perfect deep overhead. He can also link out of a deep towards strong, but this is somewhat reactable. Ryu has lots of silly EX combos in the corner. Most of them gobble up his meter, but they do good damage. As an aside, Towards Fierce is worthless in this game. It's not that strong, it's very slow, and it has poor linking options. It's a one-frame link into EX DP, and it doesn't link into anything else unless the opponent's crouching. Here's a little breakdown of how I'd rate Ryu Supers. You're free to disagree. Really, you can make any of them work, and there have been great Ryu players who have specialized in each. SA1 is probably Ryu's worst super in a vacuum, but it's his only multi-bar super, and Ryu has really good EX, so this is the best super if you want to play a Ryu who spams EX moves. Notably, this Ryu gets to use EX Donkey Kick with impunity, which helps his damage immensely. Low short jab short is a very nice super confirm. All Shotos had this confirm, but for Ryu, it only works with SA1. On some characters, you have to do 2 low shorts only. It's tighter, but it works on all characters. On other characters, you can do 3 low shorts, which is preferred. Close forward links to super if it's a meaty. This punishes low parry, among other things. It works naturally on crouching opponents. It's a good confirm, if somewhat specific. You can also use low forward fireball to confirm SA1, but it's a pretty fast confirm, and at the high level low forward fireball isn't that great of a block string. All Ryu Shoryuken combos can cancel into SA1, but if you use hard DP, it inflicts a ridiculously high juggle count, so the super won't actually hit fast enough to combo. So you have to use a light or medium DP. Medium does more damage, but I think I've heard it's better to use light for some reason or another. I'd like if a good Ryu player chimed in on this in the comments. Different characters will bounce off it in different ways, also depending on the range of the connect. If they bounce off like this, you can actually juggle another super anywhere on the screen. EX Donkey Kick combos can also go into SA1, but it's harder to do and generally a waste of bar. If you get anti-air close jab, you can juggle SA1. Air-to-air jab also juggles into SA1. Both of these setups can be parried, but in either case, if they start parrying, you can do hard Tatsu to mess up their timing and get some good damage. SA1 is pretty fast, and functions as an easier link from overhead setups. In the corner, you can juggle out of SA1. There are some strong and fancy ones, but they do cost a lot of meter. The main draw of SA2 is its damage. The round basically ends if you land this thing. And parries mean punishes happen frequently in third strike. One good opening and you can take off half their life instantly. This drastically changes the way most people play. Having SA2 stock lets you get lots of throws off on people who are afraid to push buttons. The thread is a useful tool here. It's pretty good as an anti-air. Using it after an anti-air OS parry can help ensure they don't jump parry it themselves. Although it has a very unusual parry timing compared to how it looks. The lock-in is pretty good on this. There's some nice phantom hitboxes on this attack. And even if it falls out, you're pretty safe. SA2 is a bit faster than SA1, so it will actually combo after a hard DP. But the range isn't as good as SA1, so a lot of your previous confirms don't work. But you can still make them work. They're more specific though. If the opponent parries the air reset setups, they're much worse than Shinku because they're actually unsafe. Technically, SA2 links out of Towards Fierce, and it's a very easy confirm if you piano. Towards Fierce still isn't a good normal though. This SA is generally harder to confirm than Shinku, and because it's only one bar, every EX move you use removes the threat of super. EX fireballs aren't nearly as good, nor is EX donkey kick. That's the main reason this super isn't amazing. SA3 is unblockable, so the opponent must parry out. But it's generally unsafe on hit if you do it close. It never knocks down on grounded opponents. And it's a very easy reaction parry if you do it from far away, even though it's pretty fast. Because of this, it's kind of a setup super. If you charge it, you get more hits, more stun, and more damage. Spinning the stick makes it charge even faster. Obviously it's safe if it stuns the opponent. From 4 hits onwards it'll probably stun, especially after a setup. If it hits midair, it knocks down, so it's always safe. Because it requires some charging, you don't confirm it per se, but instead set up into it. Your ideal setups give you a lot of Okizeme time to use it as a meaty. Things like light Tatsu, donkey kick, or back throw give you very ideal meaties. And it's a lot better in the corner, so your setups aren't working against you. The most common setup is Hadoken Denjin. The Hadouken locks him to the ground in a parry, which makes the following mix-up more pure. If they block the fireball, the Denjin is a red parry, which is difficult. You can't buffer parries during a super freeze, so a well-spaced Hadouken actually only gives the opponent a few frames to parry. After the Hadouken, you can mix up between releasing it immediately or delaying the release to get some extra charge time and punish people who went for an immediate parry. This is an insanely easy 50-50 to set up, and it has a good success rate. If you wait too long, they can jump out or interrupt you though. If you're too close or don't have enough stun, they can just always go for the punish to kill your 50-50. Either you release early and they punish you on hit, or they interrupt your long charge. The mix-up becomes much more deadly if they're nearly stunned. Obviously they can't punish you on hit if they're dizzy. DP into Denjin is a very terrifying scenario too. If it's a punish, a DP into SA3 gives you a full charge meaty Denjin. For bigger Denjins, if they start to parry it, Ryu has enough time to dash in and mix them up. A dash throw, or preferably a dash low forward, creates a very awkward scenario for the opponent. DPSA3 is great on block if they're close to stun too. This is a red parry, so it's hard to get, though it's very unsafe on hit unless it stuns. If you see your DP hit during the super freeze, you can release the Denjin early to hit them on the way up, which is occasionally preferred if they're close to stun. Because Denjin doesn't knock down, if you get the stun you have very little time to follow up. Dash into hard punch should pretty much always work. You can also do jump or super jump roundhouse into fierce, but if they're a mashing god they'll be able to shake out in time to block or interrupt. Because Denjin uses your only super meter, you'll almost never be able to do a Denjin combo into an EX donkey kick, so it can be really good to almost stun the opponent, then use Ryu's high stun attacks to push them over the edge. All his heavies, his throws, and his overhead are extremely good at chasing down stuns. In fact, if you stun them with something short, you can do a meterless punish and then immediately do a setup for a re-dizzy. Watch my dizzy bar and the player 2 super meter. Certain characters have invincibility to blow through your Denjin. There aren't many invincible supers in SF3, but be aware of things like Cute SA1 or Hugo SA3, which will kill many of your close range setups. That also goes for Akuma's teleport, which can just escape Denjin at no cost. Denjin is still good against these characters. An easy way around this is cancelling the Denjin while the opponent is already blocking a Hadouken. Now they can't interrupt you anymore, since it's a true block string into release, and you can't do super motions during super freeze in this game. This super is fantastic, and the cost is low, but it gives Ryu almost no EX to play around with, and it doesn't really work in a lot of his traditional confirms and punishes, like after a parry, which hurts it. Overall, most people seem to think it's his best, and honestly it's probably his easiest to use, but there's a lot of technique that goes into using it well.